If Donald Trump's mouth is moving, you can almost guarantee he's not telling the truth, and everyone knows it. Yes, that includes the leaders of the G7 who, according to multiple leaks, just finished shaking their heads after realizing Trump had lied straight to them. So why is this making headlines today? Honestly, Trump lies all the time, especially to world leaders, but last night was something entirely different. This wasn't your average exaggeration or misleading comment. What the G7 leaders heard was so shocking, so bizarre, and frankly frightening that it left them genuinely alarmed. I'm going to break down exactly what those leaks say, piece by piece. And then stick around because we've got video from a former White House staffer confirming everything the G7 leaders are reporting. Trust me, this clip is something you'll want to see to believe, and it's going to make the story hit even harder. Trump needed an emergency meeting with the G7, and the reason is glaringly obvious. He completely botched the bombing in Iran. And yes, I said botched, because two real estate guys advising him, of all people, pushed him into a move that has sent the global economy spiraling. Iran now controls the Strait of Hormuz, effectively holding 1/5 of the world's oil supply hostage. Prices are climbing, markets are jittery, and the G7 is scrambling. So what did the G7 ask him? Simple. When are you going to end this? And that's when the train came off the rails. According to multiple sources, Trump insisted that Iran is about to surrender. Yes, you heard that right. 3 separate officials from G7 countries briefed on the call confirmed this statement. But it gets weirder. Trump also claimed that there are no officials left in Tehran with the authority to make that decision. Nobody knows who the leader is, he said. So there's no one who can announce surrender. That's not just wrong, it's completely detached from reality. And here's why the leaks are happening. The G7 leaders aren't just trying to spin the story, they're genuinely scared. They're no longer dealing with lies meant to manipulate. They're witnessing a president who is living in a fantasy world of his own making. These leaders are convinced he's losing touch with reality, and by leaking these conversations, they're essentially pulling the fire alarm. But here's the kicker. You're going to want to see this next part. A former White House aide just went on MSNBC and confirmed everything the G7 uncovered about Trump's delusions. And yes, the clip is coming up right after this, so watch closely. It's not only shocking, it's the kind of confirmation that makes you sit back and go, wow, this is actually happening. So stay with me. The clip is coming, and it's going to make everything you just heard hit even harder.
It can't be as shambolic as it looks, right? I'm missing something. Obviously, the Department of Defense has an incredible architecture around planning. As someone who worked in the first Trump administration, how are you interpreting these signals?
Chris, I'm going to tell you this. It is not as bad as it looks. It is so much worse. It is so much worse because Donald Trump and the people around him have a predilection for putting this veneer over their lack of planning and making it seem always like it's 4-dimensional chess when it's less than checkers, okay? When it's like coin flipping instead of checkers. That is what is happening inside that administration. And if you think that is exaggeration, I will walk you through what I think was the most serious situation I was involved in the first term, which is that we were barreling towards nuclear war with North Korea, and Donald Trump made it seem like all the bluster was 4-dimensional chess to try to get them to the negotiating table. Well, I will tell you what his cabinet members thought. His cabinet members thought he was as crazy as a fox, and he was going to accidentally get us into a nuclear war, to the point that we had to do literal, real-life nuclear planning at Homeland Security in anticipation that the president might accidentally get us into a nuclear conflict, and we would have to play cleanup here on the defensive side. That's pretty serious stuff, that the president doesn't know what he's doing. He might get us into a nuclear war. Now, here we are, much further along in a situation like that, and I'll remind you, Chris, with a country that Donald Trump's own envoy has said had enough fissile material for potentially 11 nuclear weapons, and even though they don't have enough enrichment capability, he just said 2 days ago on CNBC they could still turn it into a dirty bomb. and now he's gone to war with that country. That's how reckless this is. These guys aren't thinking 3 inches in front of their faces.
All right, let's close this out with the 25th Amendment, the part of the Constitution meant to protect the country from a president who completely goes off the rails. Sounds serious, right? But as always, the internet isn't holding back. A post from angry staffer chimed in and set everyone straight, stating, "I keep seeing people ask about the 25th Amendment. Guys, his entire cabinet is walking around in shoes that don't fit because they're too scared to take them off." Translation, the 25th Amendment isn't happening. Not here, not now, and probably not ever with this administration. The cabinet is frozen, terrified, and paralyzed by the chaos. Nobody wants to be the one to make a move, and that's why the country keeps watching a disaster unfold in slow motion. But don't despair, there's a glimmer of hope, and it comes from historian Kevin Cruz, who, in his own brilliantly sarcastic way, offered a solution so absurd it actually makes sense. Drawing on his historical expertise, Cruz suggested, the Trump administration could really restore confidence by getting the entire cabinet to ride on a tanker through the Straits of Hormuz to show everyone how safe and easy it is. Yes, you heard that right. A full cabinet on a tanker navigating the world's most strategically sensitive waterway just to prove a point. And why stop there? Cruz added that they could invite MAGA influencers and Fox News hosts broadcasting the entire spectacle live to the nation. Imagine the chaos, the spin, the self-congratulatory commentary. It would be the most over-the-top PR stunt in modern history, and perfectly Trumpian. Honestly, if nothing else, this idea highlights the sheer absurdity of how disconnected this administration has become. The stakes are real. Oil markets, global security lives on the line, but the solutions? Totally surreal. And yet, somehow, that's exactly the world we're living in. And there you have it, Trump's cabinet frozen in fear, the world in chaos, and the only solution anyone can come up with is riding a tanker through the Strait of Hormuz to prove. If you like this video, make sure to smash that like button and hit subscribe. Not only will you be supporting our channel, but you'll also be taking concrete action against the Trump administration and the MAGA movement that enabled all of this chaos. Stay alert, stay informed, and stay engaged, because with this administration, you literally never know what absurdity is coming next. And we'll be right here, breaking it down, analyzing it, and yes, making sure you can laugh while also understanding the stakes. Stay tuned, stay laughing, and stay ready, because with this administration, the absurdity never ends.